It's 9:30 on the East Coast, 6:30 on the West Coast on a Monday. That must mean it's time for your weekly Calamity Jane live stream. James, how are you doing this evening on this ice storm again that's happening on in the south, southeast, and east coast of this great United States?
Yeah, it seems like the eastern part of the U.S. is getting bombarded.
Mm,
Hopefully, you're staying bundled up and warm and all that stuff.
it's
Over here,
cold, but Atlanta didn't, at least within the main city area, got no weather at all. A little bit of rain, no freezing or
hmm
anything like that. So we
that's good.
were pretty spared where we are.
Yeah, and over here in L.A., boring is great. It's just great
Yeah.
weather, and what can you
Yep.
do? Nothing to complain about. So
Yep.
all good on the western front. Yeah, and anybody who's watching our stream, welcome. This is where Eric and I hang out and we talk about pop culture stuff while I work on animation and we discuss our cartoon that we have in production
Mm-hmm.
and we talk mainly nerdy kind of stuff for the most part. Um, I'll uh, I'll roll in to share my screen and I have we were talking before the stream, pre-stream about
Mm-hmm.
what we're going to be talking about, so I already know. But let me
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
get into it. Um, we last left off. We
Mm-hmm.
were here with Calamity eating a bunch of vittles.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
might work on Sally a little bit tonight too, so we'll see where we get. But I'm gonna do a couple more poses for Calamity eating the vittles, and we'll see if I can get a primary pose or two for Sally
Okay.
as well. But that's the plan.
All right.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Yeah, I'm doing the unthinkable. I am committing a heresy. For at least us. I am actually playing um Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom right now.
Yeah, this is pretty. It is kind of shocking for me because you and I both we're in agreement on this one, which
Yeah,
was Breath of the Wild. We're not big. We're both, I would consider, Zelda fans,
I think
but
so.
both of
Yeah.
us did not. Yeah, we didn't enjoy. I I hit the eject button on Breath, and
Yeah.
you did too. Well, you lasted all the way through. You got to the very end
I
of
beat
Breath of the
it.
Wild,
Yeah, I
right?
did in fact beat it. Yeah.
Yeah. So you had a lot more pain tolerance level for that than I did in that case.
Well, I knew it was going to be one of those games where if you didn't like it, anybody you spoke to was going to go, "Well, did you even play it?" And I wanted to be able to definitively say, "Yeah, yeah, I played it. And I played it all the way to the end."
Yeah.
So yeah, but yeah, famously not a game that I would ever play again. So it was particularly surprising then to kind of revisit that sort of design philosophy that they had for Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild, and dive in on that. And here's what I'll say: all of the things that I didn't like about Breath of the Wild are still there. um,
Okay.
the weapon breaking, the uselessness of horses, the the relatively empty overworld, the obnoxious UI. I still think it's one of the worst UIs they've ever done.
hmm
The lack of any real substantive. Well, that's actually not quite as true. The little like capstone dungeons that end each of the different biome sections, those are a lot more interesting than they were in Breath of the Wild. Um,
hmm
I think though I'm definitely enjoying it more than Breath of the Wild though. Enough that I'm gonna say I am enjoying it. They have the things that they have done, at least as I'm not even halfway through the game, right? I mean, I've barely scratched the surface on it right now. But I've put about I don't know 15 hours in, I'd say at this point.
hmm
And at least at hour 15, the good about the game outweighs the bad. Unlike Breath of the Wild. So, all the stuff I didn't like is still there, but the toys that they give you to play with are far more interesting than Breath of the Wild. Breath of the Wild had like the ice cube power and the bomb power and the magnet hands, um and then I don't remember what other ones, and then a couple of like um special abilities that you could use once every 10 minutes or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they have completely gone back and changed all of the abilities. So now the magnet ability is no longer just metallic objects, it's all interactable objects that are part of the system, which is cool. It makes it a lot more flexible, a lot more accessible. They've added an ability where if you are underneath a surface that you can perceivably like draw a straight line to and come out the top, you can like jump through, and it makes climbing a lot faster in a lot of instances, and actually create some interesting puzzle opportunities.
So for that one, you know, I heard of I heard legend that that was actually a QA testing tool that they were using. They thought they would turn into a toy. I that is there's no I don't know where the facts are for that. I remember reading this in a somewhere where
Yeah,
it was like a QA testing tool, and they thought, wow, this is actually would be really cool for a toy. You know,
it
I
would
don't
not
know if you've heard
surprise
that
me.
or not.
Yeah, it would not surprise
Yeah.
me.
Okay.
And then they have like a time rewind thing, which is pretty fun.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and then they have the ability to build structures, right? Which I knew was going to be fun because I've already played Banjo Kazooie Nuts and Bolts, and it was fun in that game as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, just right out of the gate, your abilities that you get by default are quite fun, and like in my opinion, more accessible and more entertaining to use than the abilities in the first game. And then beyond that, sage powers that carries over from the first one, but they're far more useful in this one, and in fact can be used constantly and repeatedly. Um,
Hmm.
and by having them, it actually makes traversing some of the environments a lot easier, and solving some of the shrine puzzles easier as well. And it actually like unlocks areas that you couldn't get to before. In a weird way, the sage powers that you unlock kind of evoke old school Zelda a little bit, sort of the world expanding because you get powers that make
Mm-hmm.
things easier to traverse. So that's been really compelling. The only I haven't unlocked two of the sage powers, and I haven't unlocked the auto build feature yet, but I'm like doing the mission to unlock that as we speak. Well, not right now, but so those are the last three abilities that I don't have, and so far they're all really fun to use, and they're not gated behind some arbitrary timer, or like really really inflexible. Like the freeze power only works on water, you can't use it anywhere else, and the magnet ability
Mm-hmm.
only worked on metal, you couldn't use it on anything else. The powers are far more flexible, and it makes them a lot more fun to interact with. But the other thing that
Mm-hmm.
I've been really enjoying is they've added all of these sky islands above the main play space, and then there's like this massive underground environment. So the world is actually larger, significantly larger than Breath of the Wild. But it just because there's and they're all still pretty lonely spaces, but because there is so much variety in the visuals and the things that you do in these different locations,
Mm-hmm.
it actually is super fun to like jump back and forth between these spots and goof around. So uh yeah, I mean, right now the good outweighs the bad. Is it the best Zelda I've ever played? No, not even close. That's still, honestly, that still might be echoes of wisdom. um
Mm-hmm.
but is it better than Breath of the Wild? I mean, 15 hours in, it's a definitive yes for me.
Hmm.
So
It's hard to gauge because for me, as your gaming friend, because
yeah.
I didn't like Breath of the Wild, so for that to be that's a low bar for me to say it's
Mm-hmm.
better. So how
Mm-hmm.
much? So when you're saying Echoes of Wisdom, which was Echoes of Wisdom? I'm
That's one
trying
where
to
you
remember.
actually played as Zelda, and
Oh,
you had
the most recent, yeah, the
the
top down
most
one,
recent
yeah,
one. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah. Okay, gotcha.
I
Wow, that's your favorite Zelda game?
I love that game so much. I've
Wow.
played it twice already. Um,
Whoa, that's kind
yeah,
of cool.
love that game so much. Yeah, I played it again when they did the free Switch 2 update to fix all the frame rate issues, and made it so that it output it at 4K. I mean, that's also one of the other things that's great about Tears of the Kingdom, the Switch 2 edition. They went back and updated all the visuals and made it so the frame rate was consistent. That was always one of the things that drove me crazy about Breath of the Wild. I am not like a size queen when it comes to frame rate, right? I mean, I'm the first to
Uh-huh.
say that unless I see something at 30 frames and 60 frames right next to each other, I can't really tell the difference, and that still holds true, right? But
Hmm.
the
Hmm.
the frame rate or the frame pacing, I don't really know the technology, or I don't know the technical aspects of it well enough to know what the difference is, but it was so bad in Breath of the Wild that it made it hard to play. Um
Hmm. Hmm.
I remember the first time in Breath of the Wild I got to Kakariko Village and was like, this is a flip book. This is so badly performant. Really, I tend to be really flexible with
Wow.
frame rate issues, and it was that bad.
Hmm.
Um, and the Switch 2 editions, it's just a solid 60 frames a second, 4K HDR, doesn't even bat an eye. So it just plays smooth as butter, and that's phenomenal. And oh yeah, and another thing, the two bosses that I fought, super fun, classic Zelda bosses. Um,
Hmm.
I guess I fought technically three, but the one was sort of a fake out. Um, so yeah, the Zelda boss is super fun to fight. It forces you to use the abilities, the sage abilities that you've just unlocked. So it's classic
Hmm.
Zelda, right? It's like, it's basically a final exam for you utilizing these abilities.
Hmm.
At least of the two that I've played. So yeah, I mean, look, I'm not going to defend the weapon breaking. It's still awful. I still hate it. Um, I'm not going to defend the difficulty because it's still too high. I've been one shotted so many times at this point. It's just like it's kind of ridiculous. Um, there's all of the things that I didn't like about Breath of the Wild are still in this game, but they've added so many things that I do like that it has become a net positive experience for me thus far.
Hmm. And with the way it's set up, I mean, I don't. It's kind of weird because like obviously there's legends within Legend of Zelda of games that
Mm-hmm.
are the best, the top tier, right? So
Mm-hmm.
anything with, is it pronounced Epona or Upana, the horse?
Epona, yeah.
Epona, okay. Anything with Epona, usually, I mean, I think people, that's always been a fan favorite, is always having the horse. And then Breath of the Wild pretty much made Epona useless
Yeah.
because any horse was, like you can find any horse. You just kind of
Well, it wasn't.
lost the charm of,
Yeah, it wasn't just that though. Um, because the game was so mountainous, right? The horse
yeah.
really couldn't go everywhere
Hmm.
with you, and
Hmm.
so you'd like have to abandon the horse to climb a mountain, and then
Yep.
you'd wind up somewhere else, nowhere near the horse. You couldn't teleport back to the horse, so the only way to get the horse back was either to trudge back to it or go to the stable and respawn it at the stable. But you're fast traveling to the stable at that point anyway, so it was like, what was the point, right? Now
Hmm.
in the Breath of the Wild like expansion pack, they added once you beat the ultra hard DLC, you got a horse armor that actually allowed the horse to teleport with you and made the horse actually useful.
Hmm.
And then if you beat all of it, you unlocked a motorcycle, which also teleported with you, right? So if you were good enough to pass the test that the game arbitrarily sets out for you, then you could unlock the ability to make horses useful. But short of that, the horse, and they're still useless in this game. I
Yeah.
tried to make them useful. I tried to like, really utilize them, but unless it's like a part of a quest, horses are still just useless. I just still end up running everywhere anyway.
That's
So
the impression I got from just looking at the videos. Is it's a lot of paragliding and a lot
yeah,
of parachuting and stuff like that. I
yeah,
don't see any use for an Epona sidekick
yeah,
in that game. Which that wasn't the real reason. It wasn't that huge of a turnoff to. I really didn't like Breath of the Wild already,
yeah,
but this one really just took it to the nth degree when it came to traversal. It felt like, and
yeah.
I don't know. It just wasn't. That was enough. That wasn't charming enough for me to want to actually revisit it and give it a shot.
Yeah, no, no. I
So
and it's and a part of it is just I mean, I guess they wouldn't call it a corner, but I think it's a corner that they backed themselves into with the design philosophy, the way they've grounded the game, right? To a certain extent, um, like in Echoes of Wisdom, all you have to do is spawn a carrot, put it on the ground, and the horse runs from literally anywhere, just from off screen, and boom, your horse is back, right?
Mhm.
They could have
Mhm.
easily done that um, with the horses in this game. You even have a horse whistle that you can call, and the horse could
Mhm.
just spawn and run up to you. I mean, they do it in Cyberpunk 2077, right? You just
Yeah.
bring up your menu, call your motorcycle, your car, and boop, it just appears out of nowhere, right? No one
Mhm.
bats an eye. There's no reason not to. So it's unclear to me why they did it that way, but they didn't fix it
Mhm.
in Tears of the Kingdom. So it is, you know, horses are still useless in my estimation in Tears of the Kingdom. But
And then again, these are all just core game mechanics that I didn't like
yeah,
about the game that
yeah, yeah,
you pretty much agree with agreement with me, but just interrupting the gameplay just because your weapon breaks mid
yes,
battle and you have to stop, pause, clunky system just to get your next shield or stick
yeah.
to keep fighting. I thought it was ridiculously bad and it ruined the flow of combat.
That hasn't
And for
changed.
those,
Yeah.
yeah, see, and
If
that's why I
I
just can't.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's still I do still find myself avoiding combat unless I don't have a choice
Hmm.
because
Yeah.
combat is so incredibly unfun. And yeah, there are opportunities sometimes to like detonate gunpowder barrels or roll boulders into it or something, but generally speaking, no, it's just, you the tactics is that I always end up using is just firing a bunch of arrows until I can close the distance, right? If
Yeah.
I have like bombs attaching it to an arrow, if I have like frost choo choo jellies, freezing enemies. But yeah, generally speaking, it's the same strategy. Shoot arrows until you're close enough, and then wail on them with your most powerful weapon. And then when it breaks, grab your next one, and then just wait for it to
Oh
be
my
over.
gosh.
And yeah, I don't, I don't find combat fun in Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom at all. Um, but the one sense that I do get though is that um, the weapons durability does seem to be slightly higher. I have
That's
found that
good.
things aren't breaking as quickly as in Breath of the Wild.
Hmm.
Um, so they have addressed it, I think, subtly in that weapons do last a little bit longer, but
Hmm.
it is still it is still something that will occur over and over again where you're trying to swing your sword or shoot your bow and you're like, why am I not swinging my sword? Why am I not shooting my arrow? And it's like, oh, I didn't notice with all the special effects going on in combat. I didn't notice the weapon breaking special effect, and now I'm
Yeah.
unarmed, right? And now I
Yeah.
have to go into the menu and rearm myself, and it's just like, I don't understand why they don't at least, at the very least, just auto equip a new weapon right away, you know?
Hmm. Hmm.
But anyway, so yeah, I'm not, all of that stuff is still there and it all still sucks. But
Hmm.
everything else that they've added um, is is really fun, and I've been enjoying it. So 15 hours in again, where I'd put it is I like it more than Phantom Hourglass or Spirit Tracks, uh, and Breath of the Wild.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I'd say it's still kind of on the bottom side of things, but I like it, better than those games at least.
Speaking of games, I fired up. I finally broke my addiction to Balatro,
Oh
and
my
I
god,
fired
how
up.
did that happen?
I don't know, but I have finally tried to move on based on our conversation last week. I tried to move on to a new game, and so Stellar Blade is the winner.
Okay,
Um,
okay.
and I know that, and again, my first half hour or so into the game, it's pretty much it's pretty much the spiritual successor to the Near series of games, which is good and bad. I mean, you played Near
A
for a
little
little bit,
bit,
right?
yeah.
So
It never really. gelled with me. It's not that it was a bad game. It didn't hook me for whatever reason. I don't know how to explain it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, with Nier, I was kind of the same way. I understood the design choices they were trying to do. The world's really bland. It's post-apocalyptic,
Mm-hmm.
and then I thought it was kind of a genius thing that they did. As you progress through the game, you get more color added
Mm-hmm.
as 2B becomes more quote unquote human and
Mm-hmm.
or just sees the world differently. I thought that was really neat.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that you have to keep playing it just to see all the endings, it seems kind of like a slog.
Yeah. Yeah.
So meanwhile, then you get Stellar Blade, beautiful, gorgeous game. Like it's got all the bells and whistles. But right now, I'd say I've already kind of been there, done that, and
Mm-hmm.
played this game before. And it's called
Mm-hmm.
it was a Near series, and I don't know if this one's going to hold my attention as much. And I don't know whether I have just a short attention span now or what. But sometimes I get one shotted because I'm just being aggressive or like I'll actually parry or I'll fight and I'll get the one of the enemies down to like nothing, and then all of a sudden it poofs into a gas cloud, and then that insta kills you. Like so already in the game, sort of like they find ways to insta kill you, even if you have skill and you're showing that you can actually fight something.
Right.
Nope, you're still gonna get something because you didn't know that poison gas cloud's gonna kill you in
Right.
one shot.
Yeah.
It's like, come on.
Yeah.
Like I don't like those type of decisions, but this is me being old fuddy duddy, I guess. So then I just kind of shut the game down. I go back to Balatro, and then I suffer there instead.
Uh-huh.
Um,
Uh-huh.
yeah. So it's more of a game design philosophy that I don't know if I really like so far, but we'll see. I'll still keep playing it, and so I'll have something more to
Yeah.
talk about next week. But
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm a pretty uh I'm very hard against one shot kills.
Hmm.
Um
Yeah.
if yeah, and yeah, it just like if something one shots me, yeah, there's nothing that'll get me to turn a game off faster than walking into a place, not being able to really assess the threat level, and then being one shotted because I don't have enough information to properly escape, right?
Yeah.
Um
Hmm.
that yeah, it's just like I walked into a cave in Tears of the Kingdom because again, another game that's like notorious for one-shotting you, right? It's like get good the game sometimes and it's really frustrating. The same thing with Breath
Hmm.
of the Wild, but um I walked into a cave and there was a giant rock monster and I started engaging it and it did like a punch that I thought I had avoided, but I clearly didn't, and then I was instantly dead. And I'm like, whoa, 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 what? And yeah, it's just everything is way more lethal in this incarnation of Zelda, meaning Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, than things were in previous Zelda games, right?
Hmm.
Like,
Yeah.
I've never experienced being one shotted in any other Zelda game other than these two.
Huh. Yeah, I'm trying to think about it. Like the last time I was one shot in Zelda, it always felt fair difficulty wise in all the games.
Mm-hmm.
I can't think of anything where I've actually been one shotted where yeah. And Breath of the Wild, I mean, I don't know where I got in that game. I got to the point where the blood moon was happening or something like that.
Yeah, the
So
Blood
where is
Moon
that
is
in the
back
game?
too, which I don't care for, but whatever.
Yeah, and that's about what 1/4 of the way in the game.
Well,
Would you say?
that happens every full moon. So it happens
Oh,
over and over and over and over again. And every time the blood moon occurs, every enemy that you've killed respawns at a higher difficulty level.
and does that just keep scaling as the game keeps going?
Up until well, there's like a maximum difficulty for monsters. So
Hmm.
it's excuse me, it scales up until the monster reaches its max potential hardness.
Okay, all right. Yeah, so I experienced that for the first time in the game, and that's about where I stopped playing it.
Uh-huh.
Um, so I don't know what that would be in the game when you experience your first moon like that.
It's pretty soon.
It's pretty early in the game, huh?
Yeah, yeah. Once you get out of the tutorial area and
Yeah.
you get into the environment, the full moon happens within the first hour or two of the game. Uh,
Yeah,
yeah.
I got a horse. I found ways to get a horse with apples and all that kind of
Uh-huh.
stuff.
Uh-huh.
Fell off a cliff, and that was the last time I played was when I fell off a cliff. I was just over it.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but the moon thing was interesting, but it was like okay. Um, but it wasn't enough to deter me. But falling off the cliff was because I was trying to explore and
Yeah.
I gave up.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, and slipping off of walls while it's raining is back.
Yeah,
But
that's not
and lightning
fun.
bolts being attracted to metal weapons is back. And but I will say that like they've added an armor that you can put on that negates slipping on wet surfaces.
Mm,
So at least they were aware of how annoying it was. But I feel like
mm-hmm,
they didn't really. That's more of a workaround than a real solution to that issue.
mm-hmm,
But
mm-hmm,
it's remarkable to me though. I mean, I've spoken to people who love like all of that stuff. Um,
mm-hmm,
because to them it's well, it just forces you to think in a different way, right?
mm-hmm.
Um,
Sure.
okay, sure. I guess that's true, but I guess my and you know, they talk about how well, yeah, if you're in a place that's so hot that wood catches on fire, then you shouldn't use wooden weapons. If you're in a lightning storm and lightning is attracted to your metal weapons, then you shouldn't use metal weapons. Just, you know, find another way to approach a scenario. And my response is, well, unless I have to be there for story reasons, I just fast travel to somewhere else and force the weather to change, right? I mean, it's just
Sure.
like I don't understand. The easiest way around this is to fast travel, force the weather to change, fast travel back, and then I continue on my way without having to do this at all, right?
Yeah. Why deal with it?
Why deal with it? If it is trivial to avoid this, unless you're forced to interact with it, that says bad design to me, right?
Yeah.
So, and that's still there. Like that kind of like environmental hazards are still there.
And it makes me wonder because what's the producer's name? Is it I can't pronounce his name. I wouldn't want anyone to
Yeah,
butcher it.
Oanuma.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He's been with the Zelda franchise for 30 plus 40 years now at this
long
point.
time. Yeah,
Yeah. So I almost feel like is he just bored and he just wanted to change things up and do things like I just felt like there's too many weird quirks to these games that it screamed just I need to change the formula kind of a thing, you know?
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I
but
mean, I don't think there's any question that he wanted to change the formula, right? Which I can respect, but
mhm,
you know, changing the formula in Echoes of Wisdom, I thought was a huge success. Changing the
mhm,
formula in Breath of the Wild, I thought was less of a success. Again, I feel like Tears of the Kingdom has added a, enough fun stuff that I wish had been in Breath of the Wild that uh, uh, I'm I'm less appalled, I guess is the word I'm looking for,
mhm,
than I
sure.
was in Breath of the Wild. But yeah, there's still design choices in that game that I just don't understand. But by the same token, and I don't know if it's Stockholm syndrome or what, but the fact that there are people who gamers who actually like stuff like that, it confuses me. I just don't. And I've talked to them like, why? Like, why is this fun? And again, it's like, well, it forces you to come up with a different strategy. And I'm like, yeah, but it's trivial to just fast travel
Yeah.
away and fast travel back and not deal with it at all. And they're like,
Mhm.
well, but why would you do that? Why don't you take that as an opportunity to be challenged? And I'm like, why would I do that? Like, I could play baseball blindfolded, but why? You
But
know?
yeah, 100%. Again, it's more fun to have debates, you know, you and I
Yeah.
times, but on these stuff, it's 100% in agreement. I just don't understand. It's up to the designer to give you the challenge and go, hey, can you do this or not? Here's the challenge.
Right, right.
It and if you give outs as a designer, then that's a failed design choice that you've done for the
Yeah.
game.
Yeah.
Um,
So,
yeah.
anyway.
So this is where, with him being with him being with the franchise for so long, you had no choice but to deal with challenges in the other game, in any other Zelda game. You can always pick any situation.
Yeah.
There's nothing. There's no way ifs or ands or buts about it. You have to deal with this. You have to deal with this boss. You have to deal with this
Yeah.
dungeon.
Yeah.
You can only do this thing. You know,
Yeah.
which I guess in some circles you could say, well, that's also boring too if you only have one answer and it's binary. But having having it's essentially a cheat to
Yeah.
just okay, I don't have to deal with this.
Yeah.
Then what's the point? Is it just to
Right.
be more open to letting any gamer that doesn't want to?
Yes, I think that
You
that
know,
is a part of it. It is part of
yeah.
the ImSim philosophy of giving players toys to play with, and
Mm-hmm.
then creating a world that encourages interacting with it through those toys, and then having objectives to accomplish, and then going, okay, there you go, have fun, right?
Yeah.
Which, you know, there is a very small but very, very loyal group of people who like that sort of thing. So, for instance, my uh, nephew, he's really into that kind of stuff, right? And we were playing a game where there was alcohol and you could get drunk, and he just thought that was the coolest thing ever. Not
Yeah,
just
sure.
the fact
Especially
that
if
it
you're younger.
existed. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
not so much the booze, the forbidden fruit of the booze, but just the fact that it existed. Like, it didn't matter if he ever used it or ever found any value in it. All that
Oh,
matters
okay.
is that if if he wanted to, he could find value in it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, that's just what he really, when I was playing with him on this game, the number of like things that he liked that I was like, man, that is just completely not the way that I would interpret this, right? Like,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
um was crazy to me. And but that's what he likes, and it's a complete foreign notion. Like, I guess I'm just old, but I literally cannot see why someone would like some of these design choices. And they do, right? And that's great, but um you know, I don't know.
Well, I mean, maybe it does show a testament to him too, because maybe he's just open to this type of stuff and
Yeah,
he's listening to younger designers.
yeah. And
So
I mean, I will say that, these types of hardcore, unless it's Zelda, these types of ultra hardcore games or Dark Souls,
mm-hmm.
um, tend to find really niche, loyal, hardcore players who basically just play the game, and that's the only game that they play, right?
So I'm guilty of, I mean, guilty or whatever. I
Yeah.
love Miyazaki games. I love the From Software games. But for me, Melania, the notorious boss in Elden Ring,
Mm-hmm.
pretty much had me hang my hat up. It's like, okay, I'm done with these. I'm done with.
Mm-hmm.
I think they've run out of ideas, and you can only make things so hard and find cheap ways of doing it. So many, you can't go to the well. You can't keep going to the well. He's made so many of these games now
Right.
that I think is diminishing the returns as to creativity for his bosses now. And I think Millennia was the epitome of that. Like, was pretty much this is the end of the road. Like,
Yeah.
nothing after, and there was other bosses after her. None of them were like her. She to me she's infamous in that game at this point. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how the rest of the internet's feel, but I think especially when the game came out,
Yeah.
she was the boss to deal with.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Um, but I don't know I don't know where he goes from here either. I think the DLC for Elden Ring was extremely hard. I didn't bother with it because again, Millennia made me retire from software games. But
Right. Right.
I
Well,
heard the same thing. Like the DLC was awfully hard.
yeah,
It was
incredibly
really hard.
hard. But the interesting thing is the people who love that kind of stuff, they they see it as a challenge, right? It
Yeah.
isn't
Mhm.
the game isn't something to get lost in or to explore, or it is something to be conquered, right? And
Yeah.
so when they die, their attitude isn't, well, I can go do something else rather than attempt this boss for the 30th time. Their
Hmm.
attitude is I will not let this beat me, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's what they like. And that's just so foreign to my just in like worldview, right? I mean, I'll if I need to rise to the occasion to meet some challenge, then I absolutely will. But 9 times out of 10, if I can avoid it, I'm just gonna avoid it. Life is too hard already, you know.
Yeah. So here's the thing, and this is always the stickler for me that we've all also talked about this too, though.
Yeah,
It's to me, Monster Hunter is right up there with from
yeah,
software games. Not maybe not as hard, but there are plenty of times I get one shotted by a gold, gold
yeah.
Raytheon, right? Raytheon, wait, whatever those things
Rathian,
are,
yeah.
Rathians. Yeah, and I
Well,
still go back to the well because of the challenge. Because I'm not going to let the Rathian beat me,
yeah,
and I want that armor. I want that
yeah.
piece of whatever. There's some sort of incentive, of course, which I think is again one of the coolest mechanics about Monster Hunter. You sold me. You're a much better salesman than Monster Hunter for selling me on it. I can go on about
I
it, but
I would
yeah.
I don't find Monster Hunter to be as hard as Miyazaki's games.
Okay.
Um and I also think that the difficulty, especially in the more current gen Monster Hunters, has been dropped significantly. Monster Hunter
Yeah.
Wilds, in particular,
Yeah.
its biggest complaint was how easy it was. And now they have since
Mhm.
gone and done a ton of updates to make these ultra hard end game bosses, which I haven't even remotely been interested in trying. Um,
Mhm.
to try to appease the hardcorest of hardcore, but I've never like I've put hundreds and hundreds of hours into Monster Hunter, but I rarely do the optional ultra hard like subspecies. I can count on one hand the number
Oh,
of gold
okay.
Rathians I've fought because it's too hard and I don't find it fun, and so I
Man,
just
but
don't.
I thought I thought you had, I always defer to you as the one with all the best armor and stuff like that. You had to have gone through some monsters to get that stuff though,
Yeah, yeah.
right? I mean,
I've fought some of the harder monsters, right?
only because you had an incentive to do it though, is the
Yeah,
reason
these
why,
optional
maybe.
hard bosses where it
Yeah.
just gives me armor that I don't even care about, right?
Mhm.
I don't
Yeah, okay.
I don't attempt. It's just like the skills on the gold Rathian armor aren't really the way I play, and so I don't need that armor, and so why would I fight this thing? It's hard. I
Yeah.
died a lot trying it. You know what? I don't need this. And so I stopped trying to fight those types of monsters. You know, the lucid Nargacuga and the silver Rathalos and the Stygian Zinogre and all of those ultra difficult subspecies. I generally speaking I don't fight them because they're just too hard for me. So
Yeah, for some reason I am one of those gamers. I really like that Narkuga, the white one. What's it called? I can't remember what it was in
the the Nightshade Nargacuga or
yeah,
the
I
something
love
like
fighting
that.
that thing. And
Yeah,
oh my gosh, that thing would one shot me all the time. But I
yeah,
love fighting that thing,
yeah.
and I don't know why. Again, I'm a glutton for punishment, like many of those gamers. That's the thing is I have that streak in me too, where I enjoy it. But
Hmm.
um, yeah.
Yeah, for me, I like the monster design and I like learning the
Hmm.
patterns of the monster. But
Yeah.
when
Yeah.
you're the only way you're increasing the difficulty is making the moves happen faster and the damage they do higher. That's
Yeah.
not
It's
that's not
selective.
designed to
Yeah.
me. That's just padding, right?
That's artificial. That's artificial
Yeah,
difficulty stuff that they're
exactly. And
trying
that's
to do.
all that
Yeah.
those subspecies have ever felt like to me is padding, difficulty padding.
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
so like in Monster Hunter Wilds, I didn't do any of the arch-tempered monsters. I didn't do there were all these like post-game sub-variants of the same monsters where their weaknesses were slightly changed or their attack moves were faster or they just hit harder, and I think I did a few of them and I'm like, all right, I get this. I don't need to do it. And the armor that it gives me, I don't really care about anyway. And so I stopped doing that,
Hmm.
you know.
Hmm.
So but yeah. So Anywho, um, but yeah, so Stellar Blade. I mean, you say you've been one-shotted in it a couple times, but that hasn't dissuaded you yet.
No, it wasn't really a one shot. It was more of a cheap one shot.
Oh, okay.
So I can't remember what these characters are. I mean, anybody that plays Little Blade. I mean, I'm new. I've only played it for half an hour, so I'm not that far in the game.
Mm-hmm.
But these tall, lanky characters, you can parry or you can dodge.
Mm-hmm.
You kind of can choose how you're going to build your character. I've been trying to parry system because I normally am a dodge type of player, but I've been
Mm-hmm.
trying to change it up. So I parried this enemy, and it's not a boss, and killed it, no problem. But then it just sits there, and I'm like, okay, what's it gonna do now? I need to collect the loot and move on with my life. It sits there, and then it just turns into a bunch of dust, and I'm in the dust because it's a melee game. You're sitting there
Right.
fighting things, and I'm waiting.
Right.
And for me, I'm like, I need to move on. Give me the loot so I can move on. Nope. Then it just does the gas. There's nothing you can do. You can't parry that. You can't
Right.
melee that. You can't
Right.
fight it. Just a bunch of gas, and it kills you. And it's like, I don't know what it was, and it's nothing. It's really nothing. It's really early in the game, but it was enough for me to go, yeah, I'm not gonna revive on this.
Do
I
you
think that was a
know?
cheap thing.
Do you know how to deal with it now?
Oh yeah, you just step out of it.
Oh.
You step out of the cloud, let it dissipate, and then you can go get the loot.
Oh. Oh. Oh.
Oh,
Okay.
it's just really simple.
Oh,
I don't
so
know,
that
but
wasn't even
and that
even the next phase of the boss. That was just a.
it wasn't a boss. It was just an enemy.
Oh, weird.
But my patience was so short.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was so annoyed that happened that I was like, yeah, I'm gonna see how many more jokers I can get on black and try to get up to gold on my black run on Balatro instead. Even though that's a cheap ass game too, but
Yeah.
I don't know what it was. But I am gonna go back to I am again trying to stick to my semi late New Year's resolution. I am gonna try new games every week.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so Stellar Blade, I'm gonna stick through it. It was next week. We're kind of in the next week, but I'll keep going with it
Yeah.
and I'll kind of power through it and just grin and bear it. And it's
Yeah.
not that big of a deal.
I guess.
I've dealt with far worse.
Yeah.
I've beat Melania before.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
not a big deal.
Yeah. I guess for me, games in general, it doesn't even matter what kind of game it is, whether it's a cozy game or an action game or an RPG. I want to constantly be discovering things. I want to constantly be, learning something or experiencing something new. And so when I'm fighting a single boss over and over and over and over again,
You're stuck.
I'm stuck, right? And the
Yeah,
thing
I
that I
can see
like
that.
about video games has stopped, right?
Mhm.
And I think that's why so many of those types of ultra hard punishing games aren't appealing to me. It's because discovery and exploration is defined differently in those games. Discovery
Mhm.
and exploration is about the mechanics in those games, and not in the world that is being built, right?
Mhm.
Um, you know, Mastering your class's abilities so that the next time you fight the werewolf, you know what its attack patterns are, so you can parry it. But it takes you 12 attempts to fight the werewolf before you can get the timing down, right? Meanwhile, he's killed you 12 times. You've had to walk back to the same location. That
Mhm.
just gets boring to me, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and so yeah, I am always, and I think that's one of the reasons why I hate boss battles so much, is that I mean, unless the game like Monster Hunter is designed from the ground up where the whole game is boss battles effectively.
Yeah.
um
Yeah.
but that's an exception. But yeah, like boss battles, generally speaking, unless they're kind of simple, easy to understand, and forgiving, if I'm fighting a boss more than twice, then I'm done. I'm moving on, right? I'll give you
Mhm.
one death because I'm learning the boss. But now, at the second time, I should be able to do it, right? Now that I
Yeah.
know what the boss does, cool, now I should be able to beat it. If I'm coming back a third and a fourth time to fight a boss, then you've lost me, right?
Mhm.
Um, and so that's, yeah. So I think that is where things differ for me. Is my sense of discovery is not about mastering a mechanic; it's about seeing new things
Mhm.
and seeing all of the
You
things that the world has to offer.
you want to be a world traveler in your games.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Yeah.
And that, that's I think why the exploration aspects of Breath of the Wild and now Tears of the Kingdom did appeal to me. I loved the climbing mechanics, still do. Um and I loved the variety of environments even in Breath of the Wild, and that's only gotten more expansive in Tears of the Kingdom. So those are aspects of the game that I still like and liked in Breath of the Wild as well. So even if the world is somewhat empty, it's a very beautiful world to explore.
Mm-hmm. I I don't know where I sit with world exploration anymore. I feel
Mm-hmm.
like it, I mean, with Breath of the Wild, I was really disappointed with it. I didn't really
Mm-hmm.
care for it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I do remember having that sense of wonder and awe in a video game where I did care about wanting to go to that random tree, in the far distance.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know where I lost my need to explore, but it is gone. I mean, I feel like the last time I really enjoyed exploring a universe was actually Mass Effect
Mm.
because it felt so vast and it was a big giant system, especially with the way they unfolded up to three. And as much as there was flaws with three, two to me, it just the way that you would go to the console and you'd see planets, you go to different quadrants and stuff like that. I felt like it was so incredible
Mm-hmm.
the way they handled that. And then even and then Skyrim was another one where I enjoyed it, not as much as Mass Effect as far as exploration, but I didn't mind exploring that as much either. But I don't know, I don't know what happened between on the way to Breath of the Wild where I was enjoying that type of stuff, but then by Breath of the Wild I didn't care,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
you know I don't know how. So that's cool that I can live vicariously through my friends that enjoy exploration, but I don't know how. Like for me, like I'm wondering how did you maintain it? Because like don't you ever get a feel of like been there, done that
Yeah,
kind of a thing?
in some of them, Ubisoft open world
Oh,
games,
jeez, yeah,
that is not appealing to me. Assassin's Creed, Far Cry, Watch Dogs, any of those games. The way that Ubisoft does open world is not appealing to me. Um,
hmm hmm
and I think maybe it's because it's exactly the same from game to game. There is no,
yeah,
it is a cookie cutter, right? It is an assembly line game, and it didn't start that way. I mean,
yeah,
I played up through Black Flag, and I didn't like Black Flag that much, but I liked it enough to finish it.
yeah,
But then when I finished Black Flag, I'm like, I'm so done with this franchise, and Far Cry was the same way. It's just like after a point, it's they are just hitting the same beats with zero differentiation over and over and over again. And I got fatigued that way. But I thought that the way Breath of the Wild handled world discovery was interesting enough to keep me involved.
hmm hmm
Yeah.
yeah. I'm with you. Ubisoft. I haven't played an Ubisoft game since Black Flag myself. I thought it was a great game. I like the pat. I mean, for a pirate game mixed with Assassin's Creed, I thought that was pretty impressive. They blended both together. I really enjoyed it.
Mhm. Mhm.
But it was enough because no matter what, the same core gameplay loop that you had from Assassin's Creed One was still there, and it was getting tiresome. It was getting old, jumping off
Mhm.
ledges just to
Mhm.
say that you have this place unlocked. It was
Mhm.
just getting too old for me too.
Mhm.
I'm 100%
Yeah, the
there.
the yeah, just the checklist of collectibles and then submissions, and there was just it's always the same 12 mechanics over and over and over
Hmm
again. It's
Yeah.
the equivalent of like the Fast and the Furious movies, but
Yep.
even with the
Yeah.
Fast and the Furious movies, those just keep getting more and more grandiose to the point where they're putting characters in space in their race cars, right?
Yeah. They're running out of ideas. If you have to go to
Yeah.
space, then that's a pretty bad. It's a bad situation.
Yeah.
But
So
it gets comical, and you can go and laugh at the movies
right,
if you want.
exactly.
But
But Assassin's Creed games, in a particular, take themselves so deadly seriously. Um, that is just like,
Well,
oh,
Eric,
okay,
it is about
guys.
family. It's always
Yeah,
about family,
yeah,
So
yeah.
we gotta be serious about family, you know.
But
Yeah.
anyway,
Um. Well, I think I'm in a pretty good spot to wrap up for tonight.
okay,
Unless you got more to say about Breath of the Wild, we can always hang on to it for next week too.
yeah,
So while we were talking, though, I really kind of went off the ranch a little bit.
I
I kind of
noticed
did a
that. Yeah,
yeah. I kind of went, okay, you know what? If Calamity really likes Vittles, we need to show it. We
yeah.
need to have her really like. So I think I'm gonna animate something like this. But
Hmm.
she's gonna hump like I'll act out in the camera, but she's gonna be like,
Right, 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 right.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
exactly.
yeah, yeah,
So I
yeah,
think
yeah.
so. We're still gonna go with her just kind of sampling it,
Uh-huh.
upright, and
And
then we're gonna change the post that just she's
yeah,
hovering
yeah,
over it. She's gonna scarf it
yeah.
down
No, I
like it's the
agree.
last meal on earth.
I
And I
agree.
said, oh, that's and this is more of a character thing. It's kind of fun to talk about too as we unfold Calamity's world and stuff like that. She's pretty measured and all that stuff, but I do like the fact that she does go ape shit once in a while and does stuff like this. And then
Hmm.
she'll go back to being calm and collected, like Uncle Leon, sort of,
Hmm.
right? But not
Hmm.
really, because she's not.
Hmm. She's not
She's
right.
her own woman, or salamander female
Yeah,
thing,
yeah.
So yeah. Anyway, so
No,
yeah, I kind of
I
went off
agree
the
with you
ranch.
100% though. I really liked how her eyes are dilating a little bit too. I think that's
Yeah,
hilarious.
she never, yeah, yeah. But this is one of those times. Those vittles, something about those
Hmm.
vittles, man.
Hmm.
The writer's room has something about those vittles. We don't know what the secret ingredient is or what. I don't
I
know what it is,
mean,
but
yeah,
she
it's
loves them.
something. It's something.
So, but cool.
Anyway,
Yeah. So I think we're
all
in a good
right.
spot there.
We'll call it there for the evening. Anyway, uh yeah, so why don't you all head on over to calamitydjane.rocks. That'll take you to our Patreon site and you can join us and subscribe and help us make this cartoon a reality. You're watching us on Facebook or YouTube, so that's good. And we're also on Instagram at Calamity Jane Salamander. We also post some fun stuff there as well. But other than that, yeah, we'll see you next week. And in the meantime, stay safe out there, everybody. Good night.